think he's here now. Maybe.
Yeah. I can see Max. Max has joined in. Max, you're welcome. We are hunting for you.
And sorry.
Yeah, so I think just to recap, in our this Monday meeting, we had agreed that uh, Max and Andre will develop some tentative program for our meeting today, but also a tentative program for whatever we can develop. And then we can farm the roadmap as we move along, which we can share with others. But we had agreed also that Beatrice would be around, Max, so we didn't invite her because I don't see her.
He's here.
Yes,
I'm around.
Oh, where are you? Oh, Ufas is there. Yeah, okay. So Beatrice, you're welcome. Thanks for having put time for the meeting. And so I think I'll give
Welcome. Thank you.
yeah. So I'll give the floor to either Andre or Max to lead us, and then we can provide our comments and so on. So
okay.
Max, please. But as you're aware, I think there has been a lot of comments that we are late and so on in extension week preparation and so on. But there have been also counter arguments that contacts with government is not usually a very fast process, and quite frankly, it's been slow. Not with us, but I think the system moves in every government. It moves slow. But we are there now, and Uganda has accepted to host very kindly. And I thank really the Beatrice and her team, Max, and so on, for having pushed it very hard and to make sure that government of Uganda accepted to host it. Of course, there are several implications in this, which we shall be discussing. I don't have to go into it. And I think as we discuss, we'll find how we maneuver around them. So, yeah, Max and Andrew, please.
Okay, so I had drafted some kind of offhand my some ideas for for discussion. I saw comments from Andre as well and said
Yeah,
this is
Andrew put
already done.
something as well. I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but in my opinion, it's always not good to go away from the history where you're coming from. So, still, I want to welcome everybody, and the, the areas I had suggested we can always take short time and agree on how to move forward. The purpose of this meeting is not about to talking so much about um, the challenges or lamentations, but to see how we move forward now from where we are. Whether we're late or not late, but we need to move forward and get things moving for the extension week. That is from my side. So I wanted also to be categorically clear that all the extension weeks that we've held, there have been challenges, but we've also done well in some areas. So I wanted now to quickly mention about where we are in the extension week, so that this is like a record. Um, when well this is started. Ah, oh, Beatrice, you mute now that we're almost very close to each other. Andre, before maybe do you want to share the agenda or okay? Okay. So we wanted to just briefly say some preparations, and Andre thought we would introduce a concept of physical, online, and versus. I mean, online versus physical, but also for me, I want us to briefly look at the roadmap and see what is being done, what is not done, but also of course, this meeting will not talk much about the tours of the local organizing committee, and that everyone knows that now. We know that. But we want to see the composition, even despite the the nominations are always by consensus. We can always agree, because I have always nominated people, but at the end I removed them because they don't help at all. People have become very busy that you remain almost alone. So we have to be also careful on that. So then also, in my opinion, is also for structured management. We need to see the coordination at the secretariat itself, and so we don't jump all over. If it is this, then it must be within that agreed approach. Then some action points. But then just allow me to say, we developed the TORs for the local organizing committee, regional organizing committee, but before that we also had to make a call, which took some time. And remember also, this call was on initially for countries that had expressed interest to host the extension week. This is Madagascar, and there was Nigeria. Uganda actually came on board as one of the potential ones. And when the call was sent, I can assure the house here, up to now we have never got a feedback from Madagascar, and maybe Andre should be able to update people on that, so that is also in record. Maybe if they are preparing, or they rejected or not. No single feedback was got. But luckily, because the expression was given to many other countries, Uganda, with some follow-up, it was not automatic, totally not automatic, but with a follow-up and explanation of what extension week is, and meeting the minister, Uganda expressed their, said yes. Now, after that expression, we had to respond and say, yes, you will host. Now, the extension week 2021 is in the hands of the Republic of Uganda. Our role is to support and give them all that we can to make this extension week move forward. But as government, this was taken to the minister. This is at the PS office, and now what they are doing is to put the team together. We met again with them. I again met with the commissioner, and we have a new commissioner for extension and advisory services. The former director retired, Beatrice. So now we have Dr. Polot Naklet, and I had interactions with him during the JASA. Currently, what we are doing for the local organizing committee is that I was told to inform WOFAS to have the non-stake actors on board, and WOFAS submitted a list. And I have also requested the ministry to fill in the list as per the agreement that we did, the consensus. So we're waiting for the ministry to fill in the list for the local organizing committee, and the PS is supposed to appoint these people, and they meet for the first time. That is the quick update I want to bring on board. The other countries that were supposed to have applied for this extension week, I have no information. Madagascar, Nigeria, and others. So I think now we are moving with Uganda. So with that, maybe I open for the Andre to members, if you have anything. But then we could move to the physical versus the online meeting. Over to you, Andre.
Yes, thank you, Max. Maybe just a reminder that it was already clear that Madagascar was not interested in hosting it. It's not that we haven't sent feedback. I have already sent feedback, very clear feedback in one of our meetings, maybe 3 or even 4 months ago, that because of the actual situation and the uncertainties, Madagascar won't be able to decide at that time. And I don't think they will decide neither now. So it was already very clear that Madagascar won't host, and there was no other countries also. So by default, after there was a discussion, I don't remember exactly when, someone proposed Uganda, then someone supported, then it was agreed that it will be in Uganda. So there's no need to come back on that again and again. And it's already clear. Now, maybe what we should just really focus on is, because of the same uncertainties that might happen still this year, and also because we want also to kind of improve the way we work at AFAS, trying to reach more people, being more visible, and providing more relevant content to the right people, and so on. This is why we started proposing that we have another parallel, or even I would say, yeah, when we say parallel, it means it works together, it goes in the same direction together. The targets are almost the same, but the difference is some will be on site, some will be remotely. So this is the proposition of this. Maybe for the first time, we will have an online event. I don't know how we call it, by the way. I remember Patrice was raising, is it a forum? Is it a convention? Is it a symposium or whatever? But or a fair, because of the different types of content that we have there. Format can be any of these, I think. But yeah, the proposition is here is to start to help us understand the importance and the relevance of having this online event, and to then plan accordingly. And of course, we have to keep in mind that the extension week is always a continental event. Although it happens in one country, physically, it's a continental event. So we have to reach maximum people across the continent. So this is just a kind of a comparison of what we have. Generally, we target a lot of participants. And from my memory, maybe we had 300 to 600 participants in the face-to-face events. In the online event, I think we will have minimum 1,000 if we prepare it properly. Among this 1,000, there will be those who will be on site at the same time, but sometimes they stay at the hotel, or even some are doing some shopping or whatever, but at least they can follow what's happening exactly while they are moving around and so on, so that they are really involved. They can follow everything. Then the number of African countries that participated, from my memory, maybe the last one was 39, not 35. But we can reach all the African countries if we do this thing online also in parallel. Then the speakers, we can have as many as we want. Of course, when it's an online, we can pre-record their speeches and publish it during the event, or before the event, or post-event. That is the big difference. Then the number of exhibitor, and this is important because we want to have a kind of record of what the exhibitor presents, shows. So we have to, this time, if we organize the online one, we pre-record presentations from each exhibitor. We ask them provide photos of all their materials and links to everything they want, and they put it in the online system so that before and after the event, we can go back to these exhibitors. Problem when we have these big shows is that we have very short time to visit a booth, and we after that maybe we exchange business cards, but then it's lost or it's forgotten and so on. So here, when it's online, we will have a record of everything, and we will be able to retrieve all the information. And of course, exhibitors will pay also, so they will be sponsoring in some way. Then the sponsors, for sponsors being exposed online is very important for them because it gives them more visibility when they are exposed on the online system, and we can share whatever they want to share through videos, through presentations, and so on, so that people know more whom are our sponsors. Then the presentations, very often after the November presentation sharing sessions, the sessions. Very often also when we have so many sessions, people are a bit confused where to go and so on because they are parallel sessions. So in this case also, because we will be able to record and put online everything, people can go back to some sessions after the event or during the night, during the event, to see what was discussed and so on, and then network with the right people they found on the presentation or during the sharing session and so on. Then the tour, the field visits, same thing. Physically, it will happen in parallel, and some people might like to go in different tours at the same time, so they will be able to retrieve the information about that, see some videos and pictures about that, if we manage to capture everything online. Number of special training and sessions. We can organize as many training sessions as we want also in parallel. The number of new knowledge package shared. I think this is another very important thing from the KM side. We need to make sure that we can track what knowledge package has been shared and has been viewed, used by participants. On an online system, it is possible to see that. As soon as the person clicks on one presentation or one video or any document that has been shared, we can retrieve the information about that such person or all these persons has looked at this new policy or has looked at a training that has been done by this person and that one and so on. So the online, I think here allows and helps in the monitoring and the follow-up of these things. Then the number of new relations established during the networking, because on online systems we have what they call the COPs, instantaneous COPs or the meetups. It's possible then to also retrieve whom has met whom online, whom has made appointments, has made some wanted to have some meetings with whom and so on, and they can before or even after the event follow up, continue with the relationship that they've started establishing online, thanks to the online system. Then the evaluation and post-event satisfaction rate, that also we expect that we will be able to do that. In the past, we always not forget, but we don't have time after if everybody is exhausted and people want to go shopping and so on. But if it is, if we have a record of all the participants are online or has registered online, whether they are sponsored or they pay or it's free for them, whatever, but they are in the system, then we can send the evaluation forms and any other polls, by the way, about each session. We can organize a lot of polls online so that they will be able to rate and provide feedback. On the budget, well, the budget, I'm just putting any, I don't know exactly how much we spend for these events and who is paying and whatever. But here for the online event, I'm just estimating that we have to think about the platform, of course, that is the most expensive thing, or maybe not so expensive, but also the people on the ground. There will be people, of course, in different countries watching and so on, but those who will be on site for the field trip, for each session and so on. If it's not a pre-recorded session, then we have to record it live and stream it. So these people, we have never been able to organize that well in the past. We always thought it's good to record, to take videos and so on. And there are always people shooting everywhere. But at the end of the extension week, we don't see where are these videos. So this time, if we manage to put everything online on one platform and it's anchored there from the beginning, from the session until we say, okay, we erase it from there. It has to be live. It has to be well organized. Then about the cost implication. Yeah, these are the differences. When we organize online, of course, the fees are very small. The registration fee maybe, and the internet from the user side. For people who want to attend, and we hope there will always be many as before, there will be the registration, the air ticket, the accommodation, local transport, food, beverage, internet, and so on. Then the possibility to gather intelligence data about the event. This, I think, is one of the most innovative and interesting point about using an online system. Because after this, we will know exactly how many people attended, how many sessions were organized, how many people attended, how many sessions, which type of relationship has been created during the meeting. A lot of things, a lot of things that we have from there. Then the possibility to track attendance. Also, we complained always about this attendance sheet with online registration and so on. The attendance sheet is already done from the beginning, and as soon as they attend one session, whether it's online or physically, those who attend physically, we will encourage them to click that they are attending it, so that we can have those data that these people are attending such session and so on. Collecting the presentations, same thing. We have always lost many of the presentation, or we struggle to gather all the presentations in one place. But with the online session, it will be automatic. Uh, Feedbacks, same thing. It's easy and it's instantaneous to get feedback. We can send a poll. We can encourage people to discuss on COPs and so on. And we can track all these things after, go back to these all these contents. And finally, possibility to network and organize some meetups. Yeah. So in a real world, it's more difficult to organize meetups. If let's say I want to meet ED and during an extension week, physically it's very difficult. It will take time before I can start discussing about something with him. But when it's online, even if it is in his room, but he agrees to watch from time to time his dashboard on the application, then he will know, oh, these are people who wants to discuss, these are the questions they are asking, these are the recommendations they are proposing, and so on and so on. And it is recorded there in his account, which means that he can retrieve it when he's calm somewhere else, at home or at office after the event. It depends. If we say 6 months of the event, we keep everything there. We can always retrieve everything in the system. So these are the big differences between what we call the physical event and online event. One is one of the each one is complement the other, and we are not saying here that we will not do the online or the face-to-face event. They are complementary. So my proposition, and I think we've already discussed a lot about that, is that we start preparing these two different things in parallel and as soon as possible. And the online should facilitate a lot of things like the registration, the preparation of submission of papers, if we still have these type of papers, or submission of presentation or trainings and so on. And we have a committee of organizers who can manage it through an online system. So I think I took more than 15 minutes. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, so that's good. That is a good impression, and I like the last words that they are complementary. I think UFAS also brings that experience with their e-symposium, which was held not far ago. Let me just open this for quick discussions. Of course, the registration all along, Andre has been managing the registration online, and it's good if we could improve on it. Some of these are more of improvements. They were happening, but the way maybe we handled them. So please, let's open for quick discussions before we move to the next agenda.
Maybe I have a quick one.
Yeah.
On the registration. When you're thinking about payment of registration fees from the participants, how do you envisage to be done within the online event?
Well, if my proposition is it should be even easier to do it on the online for two reasons. If we have agreed for such type of participant, we apply this, and we can also start with the early bird registration and so on. Then we can ask them to do an online payment through, the first is credit card if they have, or debit card, through PayPal if they don't have these things, but PayPal they have, and through, in some case, we can use some of the mobile money. M-Pesa is compatible. In Madagascar, we have Ariari, which is compatible also. So we have just to find out for each country what is the best mean, or the way how they can do the payments. But we have to make it very easy this time, and very how we say, instantaneous, and not manual like we used to do every time, and waste much of time and lot of discussions, but just very straightforward. Here is the rate, you can pay it online straight, and then they pay. Now if they say, okay, we don't have all these means, we want to pay cash when we arrive there, then we have to put a cashier and someone also at the registration in Uganda then. And of course, there will always be many of these people who will do like that. They will prefer to pay cash at the registration desk. So the registration desk will be just to pick the badge. If even the badge we can print it from home, because there is a badge system also on the online systems.
Yeah, I think, Andre, that's clear.
I think my question was,
just a minute. I think there are two things about the registration now which we may delve into them at a later point. For people who just want to participate online and they will not come physically, will they want to pay? And I think the experience from GIFRAS is that many people didn't attend GIFRAS meeting this year because they put in money for registration. Then people say, how can I pay for online things? So we have to also sensitize people to be able to that. So so that can be managed in different ways, definitely. I think online registration has also been a norm, including AFAS and GIFRAS. So making it better will be very good. So Jerry, you had the one comment before.
I think you have answered it, because I was wondering whether if somebody doesn't pay money, doesn't attend the online event. But I think it's now clear.
Can I add on that question?
Please go ahead.
For the online attendance, usually, like for example, people put on different on different platforms, and many people, of course, they maybe express their interest, and then then they continue to register to pay or not pay. So would there be, like, when the conference has started, if you didn't pay, you don't attend, and so people cannot, when they have shared, I don't know, somehow when you pay is only when you can access, I don't know.
Yes, yes. You only access the room when you are paid,
Yes.
even online. Yeah, with the voucher. Andre can explain.
Okay.
Yeah, it will work like that. But just that the ID for the online people will be their email address and their password. So if they give their email address to someone else with the password, of course, someone else can attend. But I think that's not a huge problem as long as one person has paid and someone else can attend on his behalf.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything? Uh, okay, so if as I wait for people to come on board, I think the most important thing for us to build consensus in is that yes, we can have we shall have both online but also physical. I think that should be the real consensus. Just like again WOOFers for their e-symposium where people started from different angles, then later on as you wind up there were people in the room. So the same thing can actually apply where you have the regional hubs or whatever. Then eventually we have to wrap up. Of course, you see, the simplistic part of online is that exhibition, field visits. You see, the real extension is that if somebody sees, touches, and interacts is when people understand. Things online, some things can happen, some are just a talk. Looking at pictures don't help people a lot to understand in the typical extension. But for people who are really good, you see something, you figure it, and you can do more research and you can be able to do that. So a mixture of this, what will the field trips online can also be translated to physical field trips at the site for those people who will be there. So what we shall mirror what we thinking online also to be thought for physical. That is my the way I will perceive this, the way I will conceptualize this extension week. Any,
Do we want
any
to move to a roadmap now?
okay.
Okay, let me share the
So
roadmap
let's
because I've
agree that
copied it.
we can discuss this again later on. So so do you want to
Now,
share? Oh, wait, okay.
let me, where is it? Uh,
If you don't
okay.
have, I can quickly get it. Oh, why is yours not? Is this the one submitted? Go up.
This is
I
the
think
one that was,
no. Let me share the one which is really submitted to the ministry.
oh, so you have another roadmap now.
No. The one which is the same, but just to ah. Are you seeing this? This is annex that roadmap. It's the same like you want to have, you know. So the bid selection committee, evaluation criteria, selection of potential host country. This was supposed to be in July, but it has come to August. Endorsement of the host has been done, of course. Formal request letter from AFAS to selected host is also done. Signing of the MOU, not yet done. So we start from here. Are you seeing? This was supposed to be in July. Constitution of
So when is it going to be signed?
Constitution of the
I think that is just what we have to do with this table. That's why I presented it in Excel, because there are more columns here. We just need to put, okay, when is it expected to be done and who is responsible for it?
Okay. So do you want to
Okay, let me reshare again then.
Okay, then let me do this.
So signing of MOU. So so the date is 30th of July. So we are expecting it to be done by when? Can it be done in the next 1 month, for instance?
No. It is after the minister, the PS has appointed the LC and they're happy. I think the first meeting we have in the next 1 or 2 weeks will determine the way the ministry will move. Let's keep it in November, but if we go beyond that, it's okay for December. November, MOU.
Because officially, everything that was, when we say final confirmation and so on, it's just theoretically, but if it's not concealed on a letter and an MOU, it's still not very.
Has it been drafted?
No, you see, the ministry accepted to host. I first responded. The ministry now says they want to put the LC together. And in that first LC, some of the roadmap within the LC is what are the things to be put in place. So that is when the ministry would affairs will start that with an offers.
But I think we already have some templates and the MOUs from the past, so we can just use those one. Maybe Max can send to Beatrice, and she has a look and propose how to just modify it a little bit, because this will be a tripartite MOU, isn't it? AFAS, UFAS, and the government, or how is it going to be?
Yeah, it is a tripartite. In fact, more of AFAS than the ministry, because the ministry bidded as a ministry, but UFAS is providing technical support to the ministry and AFAS. UFAS is in the middle. Yeah.
Always my concern when we put the ministry too much in control, then we sometimes have problems like we had in some countries. So always better to put the country forum more in front with AFAS and the ministry supports. That is my understanding. If we don't have to change programs and change things every time after.
By the way, we can formulate anything else, but the ministry has to approve. You see, the ministry is the host institution for the extension week. But we do their advice, we do everything, we even write for them. Remember, even the expression of interest was written by Beatrice and myself. Yeah? Yeah. But they endorse. So anyway, let's put November and we see.
So responsible will be Max and Beatrice. Now, constitution of the LOC. So this, who is responsible? This also has been done by end of July. How long will it take?
this one is by next week we should have the LC, because the ministry is only filling the gap now. By next week.
Okay, so who is going to be responsible to report on that next week?
Hello?
Yes. Yes, Beatrice.
No, I was just saying that since we are just waiting for the ministry to add, it may not be, yeah, 18th is okay.
Yeah.
Because we've already put down the one of the non-state actors, and it's just to liaise with the ministry to put theirs, yeah.
I already forwarded to Patience, you know, even he's copied in all the emails we have. So by next week, the plan is for us to have a first meeting even next week or the other week. But you know, according to the ministry, they say the PS has to first appoint these people. But maybe we need to go behind and say we start working as the PS does the appointments. Yeah. Okay.
We my feeling, Max, is
And I think isn't this slot supposed also to be put in the
Huh? Beatrice, you got lost.
Oh, we can't hear Beatrice.
I was wondering whether this lock is not supposed to be part of the MOU. It's not put in the MOU.
Yeah, it is. It will be mentioned there. Yeah, it will be mentioned definitely.
Am I
Part of-
heard?
Yes, it will be mentioned, like that is the role the ministry will put in place.
So that means that if we say by the end of November the MOU, then it should be ready by all means. It should have been approved by the PS by all means.
Let's keep it there. If there's if we achieve early, good. If we don't, we can always move a little in front. Let's keep it there.
So who is reporting about that next week? Always Max and Beatrice, huh?
Yeah.
Or is it Max?
For the lock?
Yes.
I think my work was done. Maybe it's now Max and Patience.
Okay. Then constitution of the ROC, composed of board, secretariat, and country forest. That also was supposed to be done with the lock. So that it's the secretariat who has to decide on that.
For that, we already kind of had some names. I think the most important thing is to validate and see the names suggested, are they the real people who can help, and do we need to add or do we need to subtract? By next week, you should, now that you will be leading the ROC, so you should be reporting that.
Do we have some other names to propose? Because as you said, these are from the board. I didn't thought about the board at the beginning, but then it changed to become representative from the board now. So from the secretariat, of course, I don't know, Max is there or Samsung is there. And from country fora,
Samsung, automatically myself and Beatrice, because we represent the secretariat at the lock. So automatically we also come back to the regional committee. So myself and Beatrice will automatically sit in the regional committee to bring the issues from the regional committee back to the lock, and from the lock to the regional committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have you two and Samsung. Maybe we don't need too much people for now, because otherwise there will be too much discussion. So if we have one from Southern Africa, one from West Africa, and Samsung for the secretariat, and then you and Beatrice and me, that will be largely enough from my standpoint to start. After we can add.
No,
What do we think?
Andre, Let me tell you,
Yes.
this is my experience. It's not about the talking, but it's about the people who know the write the content. I had a lot of caution from Dr. Margaret Mangenyi when people wrote about the last ones, and she threw away most of the writings. I had to rewrite some of the things. So you need the writers as well, not just the representation. You need people when they lead a thematic working a sub theme, they should write. That is the role of the rock, not talking. And resource mobilization, they should be able to link, they should be able to get out. That is the critical thing about the rock.
What I propose is we have a core. So these 5-6 person are the core. And then we have some kind of subcommittees, those who will deal with all the writings, those who will deal with finance, those who will deal with communication and so on. We can call for other people later, but
Okay.
maybe to start and to quick start, we really need a small core so that we don't start discussing like Dr. Verona and the other was saying. So what is the topic now? We don't even have the rock in place and people are already asking about the topic. So we don't want to waste too much time like that. People asking too much question, but people who will approve and represent their region and report to their region that this is how it's progressing now. So if they have some feedback, they channel it through their representative.
Okay.
So, okay, I will report about that by next week then, just to confirm if Patrice or someone else will represent West Africa, and if Verona or someone else will represent the West Africa, the Southern Africa. But in any case, one of them should stay to represent the board then. So point number 10, do we still need to discuss a lot about this, or you just share the TOR and we have a very 30-minute kind of exchange between the lock and the rock? But we already have the TORs, huh? So I think with that we can easily know each committee's role. So my proposition is that in the next meeting, which can be next Friday, approximately same time, maybe, we have the lock and the rock meeting together, and we explain the roles, attributions, responsibilities of each of these committees. Of course,
I think I
yeah.
think one is let's I would think moving forward with the rock is more easier. Moving forward with the lock is a little bit bureaucracy, so you don't need to jump. So for us, we have to get in touch back to the ministry. I think we have also planned that we first explain the TOR to the lock. So me, I would think next week we explain the TOR, the different TORs to different groups. That is to the rock alone, to the lock, which we are likely to have a physical meeting, because some of the lock people, if you talk about a Zoom, some of them will actually not participate, few, one or two. So we may have to there and bring them together in a common place. So we explain their TORs and also the roadmap for only the lock. So what we should also do is to explain the TOR for the rock and their roadmap alone, how they should move, including now for the rock, developing, supporting development of the content, contextualizing the physical versus online. Those are the things that the rock should think of. So that's why you need
Okay.
additional few people who think beyond. They even start thinking about where the money comes from, how the processes of the registration that you talked about online will be done, so that that will be just fed to the lock. Yeah. Then the other week we can meet. We actually don't need to meet together. We just, the representatives of the lock will then come and talk about what the lock has decided and bring that to the rock, and also give the rock what they should be doing for the lock.
Okay, so you say the next meeting where we might have, well, the rock, I'm almost sure we can have it ready next week. But let's say that the lock will be represented by you and Beatrice for now. So
Yes.
the next meeting where we meet, lock reduced with the rock will be after 2 weeks or next week.
Yeah.
On the 18th, no, 13th or 20th. Oh, why did I make 18th here, by the way? Oh, no, it's the 13th. That is next Friday, or the 20th, the following one. So do we give us 2 weeks or what? 1 week before meeting together, whether it's a complete lock or just the representative for now. Eh? Maybe
Beatrice,
2 weeks.
Beatrice, Jerry, what I see, what do you think? And Edie.
Because we also have a lot of pressure with the plannings and so on now.
Yeah.
We can put it 20 on the 20th.
Okay. Just put we change if things are not working. Okay. That's good. That's okay.
Then discussion between lock and rock on the days of activities and budget. So this means that there is already, this means that the lock is in place. Because if the lock is not there, you cannot envisage exactly how the activities will be. The local proposition has to come from the lock. From the rock, it will be just the online. And from my understanding, the online is quite simple. It's just following what's happening on the ground and maybe adding some additional things. But it has to be based on the lock's activities. So that might take some time, but maybe we should have that on the same day after 2 weeks, if we agree that Beatrice and Max start bringing some proposal on the activities and budget. The big budget will be for the lock, the national or the physical event. For the online, it's not that we might find some sponsor to sponsor that very easily.
Good.
So can we try to make that on the 20th or so? We talk about first format of the extension week and the activities. Well, we always have these presentations and trainings and sharing sessions and field trips and so on. But maybe it's just good if we can start having really a draft program. If we can get a finalized program before the 30th of December, it would be wonderful. That has never happened.
The challenge is you can't have a program with when you don't even know the theme of the extension week, when you don't know how it takes, and this is the beginning point of a program. What a program is linked to the theme and the sub themes. So I think our focus should be discussed with the ministry. Definitely the ministry will have a lot of influence in terms of the theme because they are the hosts. They will not just allow us to jump all over. They have a national development plan, they have their strategy, they have the policy, so they will want us to coin the theme to their priorities. So that only can happen when we have the theme and the sub theme. So I think we should focus about getting the first draft of the theme by November, December, and the sub themes. Then the details will then come.
But so my question is, what happens if, let's say, the theme that is proposed by the Ugandan government doesn't align with our priorities? For instance, AFA's priorities actually is around the climate initiatives and maybe foresight and so on. So do we just listen and accept what the government will say, or do we try to channel things so that it's aligned?
The best thing now is, can we have an attempt to suggest the theme so that if when we're discussing with the ministry guys, we have something to put on the table?
Yeah, I think there are two ways to do it. The one is we've already done a kind of gap assessment. We know where we need some improvement, so we can pick things from there, and that is one thing. The other thing is at the secretariat. So it's more from the secretariat driven. Then we might think, okay, this is how we want to manage things starting next year, where we want to focus, and these are the strategic things we want to bring. So we can also propose that and to all the rock and the lock. But the other way also to do it is we can organize a survey where we put a set of teams and we ask the broad AFAS online network, because we have we can use the D groups for that. Where we reach 1,500 people in the network. We ask them to vote for the topics which they prioritize. And in that case, of course, this is really demand driven. We have to comply with what they will decide if this is the case. Yes, I think Beatrice.
Can I sir? Okay. For me, my feeling is, and maybe they will also ask us, is that what do we want the extension week to focus on? I don't think we can leave it as an open thing for the ministry to do what? I'm sure one of the things which I'm very sure is that when we talk about the focus, whatever we want to focus it on, there is a national goal right now, is the issue of agro-industrialization. But I think for AFAS, we need to focus this and say, this is maybe our broad thing, whatever we are bringing should be climate change or climate smart agriculture. And then we then from there they can say this is how we want maybe all this to also align with our goal. But if we leave it open, they'll bring completely a different thing. Or if we tell them that they, from the word go, they are going to decide, then it will be difficult to tell them, no, we don't want. But we should have some, I think, basically principles and then the focus which we want to, and then we leave them to come in. Maybe it could even be on the sub-themes, but I think the general theme, first we should be very clear of where we want to focus.
Yeah.
I really agree with that. But I want also to pick what you said about agro-industrialization. Everybody is also focused on that. So why not put that as one of the theme or sub-theme? So we can have our priorities, but the country's priorities also must be considered. Otherwise, they will lose interest in supporting and maybe participate in this event.
Can I make a small comment on that also? Usually the national priorities they come from the CADAP framework most of the time. So you'll find that the AU priorities are actually linked to the national priorities. So for us as AFAS, we need to come from that broader perspective of the AU, and then we see how the country fits in. Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we have consensus and say we formulate something and that we can put on the table, like I said already, and Beatrice has re-echoed, and all of us seem to be okay. So let's explore, ask stakeholders a bit internally, and I mean for people to propose something that when we discuss with the ministry, there is something we can put on the table, and they can really tune it. We build a consensus. They are not going to be so stuck. Even they will always want to see whether it helps them and helps also the continent. Yeah.
Yeah. So when is the target?
Can I just say, I think Mark's suggestion is okay. I think we just we have to propose something and ask them to either add or deduct and so on, and so that they can incorporate their interest in it. I think usually that's what we have been doing anyway, and then they can add. In any case, as we are doing it, since Beatrice is there, she can always be, communicating to others to see what other things can come in. So I think that's the best way to do it. Otherwise, if you do it, usually it takes long anyway. But still, I think that's the way to do it. Yeah.
So can we agree on a kind of target date for proposition? And then
I think let's agree, and that is one of the key roles of the ROC to propose something, and of course bring other people on board, including, of course, the board is very critical in this one. Then you pass it, we take it to the ministry. If we could have something tentatively next week, that would be good. Tentatively.
Next week. Well,
just something overall. We can even propose 2 or 3. Then people start debating and agree. We can go back to the history. In 2013, we had something on value chains, and in 2015, we had the CADAP, and in 2017, we had climate change, and 2019, we had something. So we look at that and say, what should be the focus now? Maybe so. Let's think about it on Monday, Andre.
Okay.
You'll have another meeting on Monday or something?
No. As internally, then we, because now this meeting is short, we can't really exhaust it.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
are difficult
Yeah.
things to manage.
There are a lot of things to do. There's a general theme and then sub themes and so on, like you all mentioned.
Yes.
You have to, you
But
have
but
to.
but my feeling also is in most of the extension week we try to put it in one hat, but in one big topic, but in fact it's very split in very different directions, and I'm not sure we have to find one topic. It can be just a slogan that we send, but we have many topics inside. And let's say if we say industrialization of agriculture, but we can put digitization in industrialization. We can put CSA in. We can find something on CSA also in industrialization. We can find youth involvement, women's involvement, and so on. So the title is just something to attract, something that will be written, but in practice it will touch all the subtopics that we are already dealing with. We are dealing with resource mobilization, and agro-industrialization will deal with finance and so on. So the title is just a kind of a commercial thing, but in fact when we start, we do the event, there will be so many different things inside.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I think,
that's
to me, I think let's start just something and then we see how we can move with it. I think we need a
Yes.
very catchy theme. And then, like I said, sub themes that can be anything like you mentioned.
Mhm.
Although I'm not too sure, industrialization, I don't know, but
Madagascar is in the same in the same trend actually. Yeah, when you talk with the government, they always talk about agro business and agro industry. That's the only thing they want to listen. We organize in something different, then they come maybe one or two people, but not all the team.
okay. Let's keep it there, but we, of course, like Edie says, catchy. Your theme will either
Yes.
attract or repel the participants. Because
Yeah.
people just read and they say, ah, this is very attractive. That's why remember Farah, when they say innovation, people and something, so it touches people's hearts. So
Mhm.
agro-industrialization can be contextualized in the angle of extension, but what is it exactly? So it
It-
needs more brainstorming. Let's keep it aside for now.
and it depends also on who we target as a sponsor, because some are more focused on different topics. So if we want the EU to sponsor, or USA to sponsor, or GIZ to sponsor, or BMGF to sponsor, BMGF, they will be happy to hear about industrialization.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah,
May-
let's reflect on that then.
Maybe the different donors can be targeted, can now be tagged by the sub themes, as you said.
yeah,
What
yeah.
I have here then is, so we are here now. Topics. I think we have already a lot of things to start working on now. We have taken 1 hour and 15 minutes. Do we want to continue, or because these are the most urgent
I
things
think
that
we
we have
could,
to.
instead of going beyond what we shouldn't now, I think we could end here for a mini time and say next week we could start thinking about the topic, which we
Yeah.
can also, myself and Beatrice, we need to carry something to the ministry, you get? So
Mhm.
The rest of the things will be determined by the, in fact, number 12 is the goal, topic, date, and program. I think the program will only come when we are sure of the topic and the sub themes.
Yeah, the topic is the key thing really to clinch.
Yeah.
You have to think of
Yes.
the topic really, and it has to be catchy. So,
Mhm.
so if
I
you're
note.
talking, hmm?
I also noted that in the past our topics were too long, and to read our topics, you need to read first line, second line, and sometimes third line. Maybe to be catchy, it has to be quite short, but and a bit vague, so that you can put everything inside after.
I think, Andre, let's move on fast. I doubt that they were long. Remember in 2015, revigorating African extension and advisory services. That is too short, eh?
No,
The
that's
only
good. For me, we can even replay that one with something else now.
Okay, let's talk about the topics next week. In
Okay.
Abidjan, it was private sector and agriculture advisory services. So how short it is. Then there was synergies for sustainable agricultural development. Short.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, okay. I think we're okay. We have agreed, let's think about the topic. We have also agreed that we look at the rock for next week and the lock for next week. I think those are very critical action points for now. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, but as we look at, I think we look at those things. We can start suggesting. We can start writing and suggesting, so that when we come, we just confirm them.
Yes. Okay.
We could also, by the way, do a simple target some few people and say, if we have to do, I can summarize the previous themes and the sub themes. Then
Mhm.
we could target few people and say, suppose we do the extension week 2021, what would be the theme? They could also have an input. Targeted, not just everyone else. Targeted. So I can do the summary of the previous ones and I send to Andre, then you do your own survey and see what people say. But also internally we should think. Beatrice and ourselves, we can think and suggest something next week.
Let's do like that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is this meeting going to be continuous? Is it going to be like every week?
Hmm.
I
Good
think
question.
we'll have a meeting until we agree on when we hand over to the LOC and the ROC. That's when then they will continue with me. Because these are just preliminary issues that have to be.
So,
Yeah,
okay. And is it
but I
going to
think,
be every Friday? I need to know what I plan.
yeah, maybe on the 13th we can have a very short one, 30 minutes. But the one on the 20th might be longer. So Friday afternoon, if we agree, or I don't know what other day. Because next
20th, I have a
Friday,
meeting. I have a FAO meeting, then maybe I will not be there. We have oh, no, it is okay. It is, if it is at 3, it's okay. Because I have a meeting from 11 to 1:30. That's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So next week, same time, we will have constitution of the LOC and the host with the host country, and then constitution of the ROC. To be just progress review. And sometimes we might not have the full team, especially for the LOC. But for the ROC, maybe we will already start working on all the proposition. And then the 13th also, we have this proposition for the topics, 2 or 3 topics. And then the following week, we confirm all these things. We have the first meeting between Locke and Rock, and we confirm the goals, topics. I don't know if the date we can, maybe we just have a range. It would be in September, October, or November. And the program also, we can start thinking of a structure of the program, of course. So that will be on the, I believe, on the 20th of November.
I think
So
for the
my proposition is we have half hour meeting on the 13th and maybe 1 hour with the Rock on the 20th. Is that okay?
After we have established the Rock, because right now we don't have a full list. What do we have?
Yes. No. That's why we do it on the after 2 weeks only.
I think it is very urgent also that we establish the LOC, the local organizing committee, so that as we move along, because it's key, especially for internal reach and network and ownership.
Yeah.
But how many people? How many people you are expecting from the local committee? How many people from government, from civil society, and from I don't know, representative of farmers or whatever?
We've used the experience from UFA's events,
Symposium.
symposium and what. So the lead, we are waiting for like 4 people or 5 maximum from the ministry, and the lock according to the bureau. I mean, not the hierarchy in the ministry. It will be chaired by the commissioner who is responsible for extension and skills development. That will be Dr. Polot, or his designated, that will be Dr. Rwamigisha. Then we choose others. So we already have a number from the civil society organizations, from the ministry, I mean from the university, from the farm organizations. Those ones are okay. They are the usual culprits we have been working with for UFAS. So it is only the minister now.
Max,
Yes.
Max, I was there when I submitted that.
Hello, Beatrice.
Can't hear you.
I was saying that list was long, and you actually added, but I'm thinking that we select out. I don't know, but because already Dr. Ramisha was saying he wants a representation from each of the directorates, and the directorates, I think they are 5.
Yes.
And so when you add him, and then you add the director of extension, and it is going to be. I think we need to get to them. It's not like because we had talked about 20, and then ours is still big. I think we can cut it down. Because we don't have to be too many to over.
Yeah, we can cut down, but we also see the LC is like mirroring who will be involved in supporting this event. So you need these civil society organizations that can put already small money to support the event. And also one thing I discussed with the patients was that some people will not even attend sometimes, and we don't want kind of delegated. You bring some junior staff to always. We want those people to participate. So when some are not there, others must move. And we also say that
when we did in the extension for the lock.
Yeah. So we also say that
we did is that
when we move forward, we shall have committees. So different committees will meet. We shall have subcommittees of the law that will meet on their own. Then the team leaders will just meet. So the team leaders will be fewer. So let's keep the number because we're interested in the participation of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just make sure that you have a balance between the public sector and the private and civil society.
I say something? Hello?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Yes.
Did you hear me and Andre?
Yeah.
Beatrice, I'm
No,
asking.
Beatrice
Beatrice, are you
has
using
some challenge.
AFAS? You know, AFAS has now the best internet from this week, one of the best on the app.
No, the
So,
internet is very good. It's even better than the dongle we had.
yes, you should
I'm
now be.
going to move there now. Mine is not good.
No, this one is super. I have liked it for the 2 days, you know. Yeah, I mean, few days. Anyway, Beatrice, she's off. So I think that's the idea that we have the expanded in the local organizing committee. But then
Yes, sorry, I'm on and off because of internet.
you are using your modem.
No, my modem, my MiFi failed and I'm using the the phone.
No, why? You should use AFAS. We have the best internet now in Uganda.
She's not in the office.
I left, I'm at home.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were in the office here. Sorry. Okay, Beatrice, what
No, I'm at home.
what we've just explained, that for now, let's not trim the list because the list is meant to bring actors on board who will support the extension week. For example, Sasakawa will have to budget, put money, pay the other guys. Also, you need UNIFE. You can't throw them away because they are representing farmers. You need other actors. You need the university. Maybe for the university, we could say Makerere and Chambogo represents everyone. That's also one area. But we are saying, in the discussion I had with Dr. Rwamigisha, we agreed that we shall form subcommittees, and those subcommittees will have the leaders, and it will be when they meet, then the leaders will also meet. So it reduces the numbers in terms of the meetings.
Okay, what I was saying before I went off is that actually the experience from the lock we had is that we had many people, but then eventually we determined the lock by the people, the availability, because some people commit themselves, like I talk to them, but then eventually they don't have time. And I was also trying to, since this is a higher level, I was trying to put there the lead, for some of them, you see, they are the CEOs themselves, because we may not want the very junior officer to come, and because this is a higher level, it's a continental issue. So some of them will drop off when they don't have time, but I've talked to the others who are very, very, very interested, and they will be there.
Okay, good. So,
So for the ministry, we should not leave them, say that the 5, maybe they should put more. Our list should not guide the one of the ministry that they bring only 5.
Yeah. No, Dr. Patience Rwamigisha is handling that, and we agree that we need all the directorates, because sometimes there's marketing as the agricultural cluster program, which has money. So we need them to be involved, so that when you ask for money, they are happy to give some little money. If they are not involved, they will just dodge things. Anyway.
So Polot is no longer the coordinator of cluster. Who is now the coordinator of cluster? Sorry to ask.
It is still Polot.
Huh?
It is still
It's still here.
Henry,
Oh, okay.
but he was promoted as the commissioner for extension and skills development. Now he's also automatically replaced Beatrice Biarogawa.
Okay.
Yeah, but of course, when he says he wants to bring in the directorates, that one is good, because they are always a concern that, when it's just extension, the other directorates, like, for example, animal, and they always want to feel they are there, and the others. So I think it's good when we have all the directorates being represented.
Okay. So I think the time is off now.
Yes.
We have agreed on very important areas, and we seem also to be agreeing that we are not late. What we need only is to push and make things happen in a more logical way, and we achieve better results and perform better than where we have been. So let's see how we update ourselves next week. So otherwise, thank you from my side.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend.
Same
Thank
to you
you.
guys.